That's good. Yes, it's very weird to be moderating in a space like this. I would say this is the first time I'm moderating something in this capacity, and yeah, it's very hard not to get audience interaction. So do stay with me. It's day number 42 of the MCO, and so far we'll be entering a lockdown, as we know, of roughly about 70 days. Now, I just want to talk a little bit entrepreneurial first before we get into this. A lot of entrepreneurs talk about people development, self-development, and one of the things that we all need to remember is that everything is about developing habits. And developing habits happens anywhere between 18 to about 260 days, but roughly it takes about 2 months. And that's about 66 days before we start forming new habits. So really, when we all come out of this MCO period, we'll all would have formed some sort of new habits, which would create some sort of a new norm, after this whole pandemic is over. But that's something we're going to address a bit later, which I'm very, very interested to find out about from our panel of esteemed guests, as well as to you, our guests. If you have any thoughts about that, please bring it up. But today, like I said, we'll be living in the now. So we'll be talking about reshaping the F&B industry during COVID-19 as we know it today. F&B industries has been one of the most badly hit industries. I'd say it's one of, it's not the most. So without further ado, I'm going to be introducing our panel of esteemed guests. So straight up, we've got these guys who I feel are some of the most innovative, well-loved brands, but most importantly, they are all homegrown. We have ladies first, Yuet Kim, who is from PichaEats. She helps refugees and thrive as a marginalized community in Malaysia. We have Renyi Chin, who's been a passionate builder of burgers since 2012. And now he focuses also on developing boba, pizza, and people. And we have Rashdan Othman, who is literally the coffee man. He's been around for 20 years in the industry, being the director of operations at San Francisco Coffee since 2010, but starting from a barista now, we're here since 1999. That's a long time. Guys, hello. I'd like to start by posing our first question, and it's a very obvious question. So we've noticed a lot of F&B shifting their focus into deliveries online, and I wonder if I'm sure that's the same for all of you, Renyi, Rashdan, and Kim. Would you care to give us a little bit of an insight about that? Let's start with Rashdan this morning. Rashdan, are you there? We can't hear you, sir.
Sorry, forgot to unmute there.
That's all right.
Okay, morning, Razif. Yes.
Yes, everyone's shifted to delivery. You guys have been doing delivery even before the need for delivery in this point in time. But what's going on? What's your best market practice?
Yes, we've been cautious at first going on delivery because our products are generally better when it's had at the outlet rather than being delivered. But that being said, we tried that platform and now it's proven to be the best decision we've made. As you know, now you can only get them delivered or pick up at the outlet, but mostly you are discouraged to pick up. So this delivery platform has proved to be very good for us. We've highlighted items that was not put on delivery service before. So we added new things, new packages as well. We're also leveraging on e-commerce, such as Lazada, Shopee, and we're looking at others as well. We're also developing our own application to handle deliveries as well as e-commerce.
I see. Okay, so going in-house seems to be the way to go. Renyi, would you agree with that?
I think that's definitely the way to go. If not for COVID-19, I think we will see this trend or this progress be a common thing in the next 1 year. I think what COVID did was definitely accelerated the process. But apart from that, I think as he just said, we all need to pivot. We all need to find different ways to survive. So for myBurgerLab, we tried different things. In fact, we tried everything that's under the sun. We now have a frozen product mart where you can buy off one of our friends at the Meat Experts. We have home kits that people can buy and just have fun with it and make pizza, make burgers at home. We have started 4 collaborative efforts with different restaurants, whether in-store or outside of the store. We even have an online franchise, unofficial one, but we have like 30 online franchise through a game called Animal Crossing. So these are things that we were trying throughout the last 4 or 5 weeks just to ensure that we stay relevant and we find different ways to survive.
Renyi, can you elaborate a little bit more about this Animal Crossing game? It's really interesting that you're giving them an experience, your customer an experience. This is something a lot of people might want to know about, tap into.
So Nintendo Switch has this game called Animal Crossing. It's a very, very cutesy game. You basically have your own island, you build your own little houses, you build your own little farm and whatnot. But the cool thing about it is that you can customize. So we actually have we put out a challenge to say, hey, build a little BurgerLab stall in your island and have your friends come visit, because it's an interactive game as well. And we have a lot of crazy designs that people have made. There's one in the space, there's one in the sea, there's different themes, there's a jungle theme. And what they do after they build this, because it takes a lot of time to build, after they build it, they actually share it on social media to say that, hey, look, I have a BurgerLab franchise on Animal Crossing. So for us, it's in-time marketing, and all we reward them with is 3 free burgers. That's it.
That's amazing. That's really a good way to develop customer loyalty. Kim, would you care to share a little bit about your best marketing practices so far? Have you got anything that, I think your product has a lot more of an emotional tie to it. And having read a lot of journals online right now about how refugees and the marginalized community are coping here in Malaysia, I'm sure you guys have a lot to do for that. Please do share your experience.
Thank you, Razif. Hi everyone. So I'm Kim from PichaEats. So basically we are like a food business rebuilding lives of refugees in Malaysia. Our main business was catering before this, means we cater to a lot of events. But events went down to zero. I think pre-MCO we were already feeling the pain. But with delivery has always been our business model as well. It's just that we don't deliver individual package. We deliver party packages. So what we did was we used to have like a minimum 10 packs per order. We lower it down to 5 packs per order, and we work out the pricing that would help like more household families to be ordering from them. And so this is one thing that we did. The sales has increased based on that. The value decreased, but the transactions has definitely increased. The second thing we did was that we activated a fund where people will put in money, and then we will enable the refugees to be cooking, and then we will send them to the frontliners and people who are in need, people who have lost their jobs in the marginalized community. So far we've been serving around 20,000 meals already. And the people that has put in the money, they understand that there are costs to cover. There are ingredients costs to cover as well. That the refugees will be gaining a sustainable living, so that they don't have to go out and beg for food. And then the people that we are feeding. So these things they acknowledge when they put in the funds. And then the third thing, I think what we did is we did more social media engagement. So during this COVID-19, I think a lot of people realized that the online engagement has increased like tremendously. So we try to stay, like when you say stay relevant with people, we do like Instagram live sessions every single day, Facebook live sessions, which turn out like triple or quadruple of the content that we did before this. But this also helped us to improve our skills in content creating, and because of that we created a new company called Zucchini & Co. So what Zucchini & Co does is we help like brands to retell their stories, especially during this COVID. And so far we've also got quite a number of customers that has already signed on to this service. So that's what we've been doing during this MCO.
Excellent. Well, desperate times equals desperate measures. I'd really be interested to talk about Zucchini and Co a bit later. Rashdan, back to the marketing. I noticed that you said that you were also going in-house with your delivery. Meaning, are you dispatching your own riders? Is that the direction that you're headed? Your sound, sir. Your sound.
Okay, sorry about that. No, we're not going to dispatch our own riders, but so that people can order in advance, because post MCO we will not be back to normal. It'll be like what people always say, new normal. So what will happen is we don't want people to crowd the cashier or crowd the pickup area. So what you can do is you place your order well in advance, we prepare it for you, and you pick it up, or we get a delivery service to send it to you.
I see. Can you explain a bit more about this process? Does it actually make your costs go up because of the activities that you have to do, or does it actually lower your costs? I'm sure a lot of people would like to understand a bit more about that.
In the short term, of course, you have to invest in the application development and so on, and there'll be some teething problems and everything. But in the long term, it should be more cost effective to handle it yourself. Of course, you have to handle the logistics, the management of the app and so on. But the overall cost will be cheaper than if you were to completely outsource it to a third party.
Excellent. And just with regards to content and marketing, tying it back to what Kim was saying just now, how have you guys been coping with the content aspect of it? Have you had to change your direction of content, or has it always just been the same? Because you guys are, you sell coffee, you sell food, and people don't usually think of San Francisco coffee to eat after maybe about 6 p.m. You know what I mean? It's a very daytime business. How has that affected you, especially even during Ramadan?
When you say content, do you mean the menu?
Oh, yes.
So far, before the MCO, we've been selling a lot more drinks than food, but now people are ordering a lot more food. If you look at our top 3 bestsellers, before this, all 3 were drinks, but now there's 2 food in there and there's 1 drink at the top.
Okay, so you are mixing up your content within your food. But sorry, I missaid that. What I meant was content online, like actually producing content. Have you had to retell your stories online to engage with your customers?
Oh yes, we're putting some videos and more localized and relevant with the times on social media, Instagram, Facebook. We put like how to do your own coffee at home. We never need to do that before because people can always walk in and get their coffee. Things about the social distancing when you come to the outlet, what do you do, and how we are practicing social distancing and food hygiene safety, the safety of our staff and our customers as well in the outlets. So those contents are being put up so that people are aware.
Excellent. So I see a synergy here between 3 different companies, 3 different product offerings. But I'd like to come back to you, Renyi. Very, very interestingly, your latest product is actually, we were talking to Rashdan about how this new norm that they're going to build, they're investing a little bit into it, but hopefully in the future, it actually lowers their costs because, it requires them to have less people around. Now you're actually pushing, you're allowing your consumers, your loyal fans to actually make the burgers and whatever it is at home. Tell us about that. How has that affected the cost or actually the workflow within your team?
So one of the reasons why we launched this was because we were inspired by a local cafe called, and this is a plug to our friends at Wild Yeast or Wild Sheep Chase, I think it's the same brand. And they had a take-home package, sourdough loaves, some jam, some butter, and I thought that was really creative. And we wanted to do something similar in a sense where we said, hey, can we take it to the next level? And in a way, BurgerLab has always been about experimental, and we always wanted to say, hey, making burgers is not about following a certain rule, it's not about following a certain guideline. So we said, let's do something that people can go home and turn their home into a BurgerLab for one day. Again, you see the chain of thought that we have with the Animal Crossing. So we want people to experience BurgerLab in their own context. So what we did was, hey, we have this home kit. It's very basic ingredients: buns, sauces, pickles, patties, all right, and some cheese. And you go ahead and create your best BurgerLab experience. Now, the idea here is not about saying, hey, if you can get BurgerLab at home, don't come to us. Because number one, making a burger, while easy, it is difficult to make a really good one. So it hopes that people making their own burgers, they also appreciate the thoughts, the complexity that we have to do to ensure that every single burger that they order comes out, with the quality that we want. So it's letting them have an appreciation to what we do, but at the same time, letting them experience that BurgerLab experience at home. So that was the train of thought when we decided to go down this route. And from that, it kind of branched out into people saying, hey, I want to buy this, I want to buy that sauce, I want to buy this. Hey, can you make a flavored patty? Which we decided to respond with a yes. So right now we have 4 different flavored patty. We have garlic parmesan, we have mango chili chicken. So these are all things that is spurred by other people. We take inspiration, we build it with our tone and context on it, and then we give it out to the people. And then from there, we get more feedback, and then we build up upon that even more.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Do you see this to be a trend coming up in the future for a lot more people? And if there are other F&B players out there who would like to learn from you as to what you're doing, is there anything that you'd like to impart?
I don't dare say I have anything to teach. But if there's anything we've learned so far is to listen to our customers, right? And that's the essence of what myBurgerLab is. Everyone that says myBurgerLab has a role to play in it. So when people ask for something, we give it to them. And with that, we build a community that trusts in the brand, that relates to the brand. So yeah, to all fellow entrepreneurs out there, listen to your customers and give them what they want with a twist.
Renyi, sorry guys, I just want to touch on this a little bit more because it's quite a new product offering. It's very different. Somebody just put out a question out there. Didn't come out in full because it's on my phone, but I can pretty much guess. How much is the take up right now? Since you've launched, if you don't mind sharing with us.
You mean take up as in sales and revenue, right?
Yes, of course, for this particularly new product. Yeah.
All right, that's a fair question. So to be honest, I can divide this answer into phase 1 and phase 2 of MCO. So when MCO started, I think everyone is on holiday mood. They are like at home. So we've been on the online delivery presence platform for a very long time, for at least 2 years now, on both foodpanda and GrabFood. So we are not new to it. So people have seen us online, and one thing that we realize is that when people buy food online, they usually go for brands that they are already familiar with. So to be honest, in the first 2 weeks, we saw sales that was breaking record for the year, right? We were doing sales that were more than our usual in January and February on a daily basis, right? About 10 to 20% more. Now, that was short-lived because when MCO phase 2 started, what happened was we were only able to operate until 8 p.m. So a lot of people argue 8 p.m. you close, then you clean up your store, you go home by 9. But our stores, we were warned by the police to say you gotta get out by 8. So our last order is at 7 p.m. and that means we have a whole chunk of dinner that was missed out on. So to answer the question is, yes, while sales were better, there were limitations. And also, I think everyone know by now, because there's a lot of talk about this, especially in Singapore, our delivery partners do take a certain percentage commission of our sales. So just because my sales increase doesn't mean my profit increase. In fact, it is a diminishing return in that sense. The more we sell, the more we have to lose in terms of our manpower, our efficiency, and so on.
Renyi, thank you so much for sharing that. It was a very bold move that you did, and this is a very valuable lesson for everyone to know going into it. Okay, just a fun trivia question. Yay! Okay, quickly, Renyi, in less than 30 seconds, tell us your top 3 biggest best-selling items right now. Go.
Our burgers are still our best-selling items. The beautiful mess, the what else is our best-selling item? The lab burger. People love to create their own thing. And then finally, I think our spicy Hawaiian. Yeah.
So those are awesome. Rashdan, what's your top 3 bestsellers right now?
Number 1, cafe latte. Number 2, chicken honey mustard ciabatta sandwich. Number 3, egg and cheese croissant.
All right, awesome. That is also something I love. All right, and what about you, Kim? Especially now during
Um,
Ramadan.
yeah, it's definitely our iftar menu. So if you can go to our website, just look for iftar menus. The frozen bolani or mantu, so frozen fried bread and dumpling. You can reheat it yourself. And also the new partnerships that we're working on. It's a sourdough with three types of chutney that we just came out with.
Oh, yummy. You're making me hungry. This is really bad. You know, this is really funny. The last time I did a session like this, I was also with Renyi and it was also fasting month. And we talk about food and it's like not very conducive for all of us, but it's okay. We're here to learn, everybody. So I'm switching from the marketing and food side to the more serious side, which is your back end. And this question is for Kim. I'd like to talk about being an employer now, and it's really interesting because the three of you have slightly different, areas towards it. Kim, you're really working with the marginalized community, so we'll focus on that first. How, as an employee, or a management team, what's your main priority, and how are you protecting your staff in this period of time?
I think the refugees that we're partnering with usually they're not our employees. So basically they are like we call them like vendors or merchant in a business sense. But we usually call them partners. So they cook from home, and our first priority is definitely safety. And so we can't visit their home all the time, and so right now we're doing a lot of virtual checking. So virtual means like they put their phones up and we would be online to check on their cooking process and everything. The good thing is all of them 12 active. We have 12 active families right now who are cooking. They are not new. They have been in this since the very start. So like the first year or the second year. So they have been serving like tons of people. So it's been they have been quite stable so far. But in terms of the team, I think the first thing that we addressed was the also safety, but also like their financial safety, because that's the first thing that came into their mind when MCO was announced. So we had to address that to say that we're not doing a pay cut because we have reserves. But these are the things that we have to work on, which is mindset changing. So the second one is to change their mindset that every day will be changes. I think the first 2 weeks was quite stressful for everyone because every day there were changes and every day their roles or their tasks will have to change. So the first 2 weeks took us some time to figure things out, and then the next few weeks, right now everyone is much more comfortable and much more accelerating as well. So these are the things that we try to address when we knew MCO was going to happen.
Thank you for sharing. It's really good to know that. Well, I mean, I'm sorry I didn't address your model correctly just now. They are not your workers; they are your partners. But as the marketing arm, the parent company that brings everything together in terms of sales, it's great that you also have reserves, and it's great that you're also already starting to manage the expectations. Versus Rashdan, you have massive operations. I'm sure you've invested a lot in infrastructure as well, and now we've hit a time where it's very difficult hearing a lot of people losing jobs. How are you guys addressing the situation with your staff as management?
We had quite the headache because, as you know, the first MCO was announced only with 1 day notice on the 16th, where MCO started on the 18th. So we had to scramble and make sure that everything is in order and what outlets we can operate, what outlets we cannot. So at the moment, we are only operating 28 out of our 52 outlets. Our priority would be towards the staff safety, food safety, and customer safety. Because without this, the staff won't go to work and the customers won't buy our products, or they won't even come over and pick up their stuff. So we quickly introduced a new SOP for the MCO, and we also foresee that there'll be a new normal. So we take into account of the new normal as well. So we've done like the markings at the outlet for social distancing. We put some tables where you put the thermometers and logs for customer temperatures, staff temperatures, also the hand sanitizers, gloves, masks, and everything. In the beginning, there were shortages of thermometers, masks, sanitizers even. So we had quite the challenge, but eventually we pulled through, and we have all those in place now, and we're ready to go further until the MCO is lifted, and to carry on providing a safe environment for everyone, our customers and our staff.
Right, that's fantastic. Don't mind me pushing a bit more. Please feel free to say no to answering this, but I'd really like to explore and understand. I'm sure a lot of people out there would know what might be the fate of a lot of staff in many major companies in the future if this persists to go on, this MCO, in your particular point of view.
If this continues to go on for months and months at a time, I think a lot of companies will not survive, including ourselves. Nobody can survive with this minimal sales when you build the company around a certain expectation. But at the moment, we're still retaining everyone and still everyone on full pay. So yeah, we'll see, and we'll handle it when it comes.
Thank you for answering that. That would it's not a very easy question to answer at this point in time. I'd like to shift this a little bit to cash flow. Renyi, most restaurants have a cash buffer of about 16 days. It depends how you manage your suppliers. But what's your advice in maintaining or managing your cash flow since you're really pushing out a lot of products?
So I guess this advice only applies to the current MCO situation, right? First off, we need safety net, and I wouldn't dare say I'm so smart, but I had a good advice on my side where a good friend of mine, Othman from Inside Scoop, before MCO, he said, hey, there's this loan that the government is giving out, and it's the COVID relief loan, and you should take it. And we signed up at least a week plus before MCO kicked in. And 1 week and a half into MCO, we got approval for it. So we have a safety net because we don't know what's going to happen. So for those that have not taken any loan, there is a lot of facility out there. And the current loan that is available, you don't have to pay anything for the first 6 months. So my advice is go and take it. If in the next 6 months you don't use it, just return it untouched, no interest. So that is the first advice to keep cash flow in. For us right now, honestly, the reason why we stay open and we have so many things going on is because that's the only thing I know how to do. We will fight going out. Honestly, we're not making money right now. With the current sales, with the current weather, with the current restriction, every day we're losing about 2,000 to 3,000 ringgit, I would dare say, right? And this is with the subsidy and everything else. But the thing is, why we're doing this is because, number one, we hope that things will go back to normal as possible anyway. And we need to keep the staff in place so that, and the brand in place so that we are still relevant. We cannot, just disappear. So to answer your question in terms of cash flow, it's not easy. Negotiate. Your landlords, your suppliers. In fact, our suppliers are saying, hey, if you pay early, we'll give you a 2% discount. And that 2% makes a whole lot of a difference when you're buying hundreds and thousands of ringgit, right? So these are all the things that we've been doing. It's still not enough, but keep fighting, right? Everywhere you can save, everywhere you can everywhere that you can save, you do it. Talk to the team, make sure they're aligned, make sure they are fighting alongside of you. Because if your team don't care, for example, we're still operating, but they turn on all 10 air cons, that's not going to be good for the bill by the end of the month. When there's no customers in there, maybe they just need to turn on 2 or 3, right? So these are things that we do to basically save everywhere that we can. But the only thing that we don't save on is R&D. We believe that R&D should continue to go on. We believe that our quality of products should never be cut, meaning that if I serve you 100 grams of fries, you will still get 100 grams of fries right now, rather than cutting corners. Those are things that we believe in, because at the end of the day, the real battle is when MCO is over, and we want to survive long enough to see that battle start. Right now, it's just to fight to just see through the MCO, and be prepared for what comes. And we really don't know what the new normal is. As much as we can predict, as much as we can look at South Korea, we can look at China, we can't predict it. We can only be ready for it or get ready for it.
I agree. I agree. And I was just about to touch that, this whole new normal thing. And it's a thing to ask for everyone. But we got a really interesting question from Emily. And I think it's a quick question to all. I'm going to start this with you, Kim, because it actually pertains to what I read about on your website this morning. You have this really cool thing where you were talking about how you guys are practicing, taking precautionary measures. Sanitization is done on a daily basis in the kitchen, etc. when it comes to PichaEats. So the question for everyone is social distancing also practice among staff during food preparation, and how has that affected things? If everybody can touch a little bit on that, it would be really nice. Thank you. Maybe we'll start with you, Kim.
Sure. So the food that is prepared at home, I would believe if there's no, because it's prepared by the mothers, so individually there's not much social distancing that can be done. I think the things that we take more precaution is when you pass it to the driver. So that one we try to do they try to be as preemptive as possible. So the drivers that we engage are all our fleet. So we make sure that they sanitize their cars and all the mask and gloves and everything. So these are the things that we could take prevention, and then after to the customers will then be depending on the customer if they prefer no physical contact delivery, then we will respect that as well. So it really for cooking process that's how it's being done in our kitchens.
All right. Thank you. Rashdan, can you share a little bit about how things might have changed in your kitchen, if any?
Okay, with of course the social distancing with our staffing as well, and we help do this by reducing the number of staff that is allowed at any one time. And whenever there's a change of shift, the earlier shift will have to go off immediately. We don't have that overlap anymore that we used to have, and also we cut down the working hours, we cut down the working days, and we've increased the standard in sanitizing touch points, washing hands, and what was it? Before this, we always emphasize on customer service where you are supposed to hand the cash as well as the product to the hands. You're not supposed to put it on the table and just call them. So now we have to do the contactless part. So we just put it at the end of the counter and they will pick it up without having to touch us. And we also encourage cashless transactions so that there'll be as minimum contact as possible. So that's what we're doing differently now with the MCO.
Thank you. Thank you. And what about you, Renyi? Any slight differences?
I think basically Rashdan covered it most. We run both retail style businesses, so the precautionary measures are pretty much similar. However, to say that there is social distancing practice on my store level is going to be a little bit difficult because the kitchen is the size that it is. We do put a minimal staff there to be able to perform the task, but that 1 meter apart is almost impossible, and it's not something that I would be able to promise my customers. However, the promise that we can give, obviously, and I believe Rashdan do this as well, we take the temperature of everyone. Anyone with a slight cough or a sneeze is immediately sent home. We don't take those chances. Gloves, masks, all these are constantly worn, and they are changed, every subsequent hours as well. So these are all the precautionary measures that I know all good F&B businesses are practicing. So yeah.
Thank you.
I can add on as well. Like, so the what the mothers almost the same as Renyi's and Rashdan is they have to send in their temperature check before they start cooking. So we have distributed all the temperature the thermometers to the all the houses before we start, and then they will have to check and send us a picture before they start the cooking process.
Okay. Right. So we have come to almost the end of our session. I think we've covered a lot of grounds here. What's up front, what's happening at the back end, management wise. and how you're handling your staff. I think all of you have been quite responsible, and I commend you for that. But it's this new social norm that we're going to bring it back to Renyi just now. He said, you know what, we can't predict this. We don't know. We just have to be ready as to what it is to come, right? But if you could all be movie directors for me right now, or at least script writers, and pitch to me what you think this new norm would be, very quickly, in about a minute and a half for each of you, I foresee a future where people will be walking in and out. I don't know, however it is that you guys want, which pertains to the F&B industry, of course, which pertains to how it is that they will behave in your establishments. Since Renyi brought it up just now, you couldn't predict. Let's have you start first.
Well, I'm going to be on the optimistic side, and play to Malaysians' typical behavior, which is we are very, very forgetful people. This is our first pandemic, or even an epidemic, right? Places like China, they have gone through it before, so they are a lot more wary. So I think to take them as a model to say, hey, 1 month after the MCO, the quarantine is lifted, that people are not coming out to spend, that is the prediction. However, I believe because Malaysians, this is our first time, to most of us, we want to get back to the old life that we are used to. I'm going to be a little bit optimistic. I think people are going to come out in droves. There's something in China that they're calling right now revenge spending, meaning that they crave spending. They're going to come out for the first 1-2 months, and there's going to be a spike in sales. So I think for all entrepreneurs, that's the time to capture and save up as much as possible. Now, I can't speak for what happens after the 2 months. People are going to start realizing that, hey, maybe recession is in loom, touch wood. Maybe things are going to be, it's a lot more worse than they expected it to be, right? They realize that they're going to lose jobs and whatnot. So we don't know. It could go the other direction and just life goes on as per normal. But I'm going to hope for the best and assume that Malaysians, being Malaysians, we're going to be forgetful. We're going to say, hey, that was a thing of the past. We're going to move on. And life is as per usual.
That's right. Thank you so much for that. We are optimistic. I'd say we're more like fresh. Never mind the negative. We're more optimistic. We're positive. But thank you, Renyi. Okay, Rashdan, would you care to give us your thoughts on the future?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Renyi. We do tend to forget pretty quickly, and with the exposure that we get from the news and everything, we tend to get numb, I would say. That people just quickly forget and move on with their lives after normal. So I see there's maybe 2 scenarios where if there's lack of enforcement, people will quickly go back to the way things are, unless there's repercussions like the COVID case spike up again. But if there's proper and consistent enforcement, then we could see the new normal where we will come to accept in the future things that some restaurants, some cafes are already doing, such as ordering using a digital device, and also food being delivered by robots, the robot car at some of these Japanese restaurants. We could see that, and where stores become smaller and smaller because people are not allowed to sit and congregate. So there'll be more takeaway outlets, the small mini ones like a window kind of store. So that could happen. But we don't know. We can only guess.
Of course. And what about you, Kim? Thank you so much, Rashdan.
I also quite agree with Renyi that people forget fast, and Malaysians are actually social animals. And I also see that like humans in general, whether it's Malaysian or the whole wide world, people actually recover really, really fast. I think one thing, if you can survive this COVID, I got this advice from my mentor is that your competition, some of your competition are basically wiped out, and it means that you are closer in gap to your competition. The gap from yourself and the competition is way nearer, and it's faster for you to actually try and gain more market share. But for us, like we were talking about a B2C, but for B2B, I actually expected like 0 caterings until the end of the year because of protocols and because businesses have to, although like the individuals are okay with it, but businesses have to protect their image and they have to protect like their employees. So we actually expected 0 caterings until the end of the year. So what we're doing right now, if we can continue increasing, I think it'd be great in the B2C sector. So that's what I'm predicting.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those wise words from your mentor. We are almost out of time. I would like to open the floor for some questions. So, organizers, if you could send some questions my way, that would be great. But before we wrap that up, we had one here from Alvin, which asks, your survival lesson in FMB, can they translate to and be used in other industries? Now, I'm just going to speak for all of them, Alvin, not because I can, but because what I noticed is that nobody anywhere is actually, supposedly surviving. Everybody's doing what they can to just move on and be relevant and stay there. But what do you think is basic, guys, all of you, yeah, Rashdan, Kim and Renyi, what is basic business that you can apply to other things, or anyone can take from what you guys are doing? Let's start with you, Rashdan.
Basically, we need to adapt, change the roles and change the strategy, like having a smaller footprint rather than paying all that rent for that big space where nobody's going to come, and leverage on technology. We have technology now, applications where people can order in, subscriptions where people can pay in advance, or even put in a little bit of charity in there where you pay for someone else, pay it forward, if you will. For donations, for example, that way you can help local companies as well as help the needy.
Thank you. Kim?
Yeah, I do agree. Change is very important. I think in order to do that change, I think a lot of people need to accept that this is what it is. Like a lot of people, from like different groups that I hear of, some people are still not willing to change, or some people are still not realizing that this is how serious it is. So you have to acknowledge it. And then second, you have to not love your own business idea if it doesn't work anymore. I know it's like something that you created and it's your baby, but probably it's time to let go and we move on to the next phase.
Renyi. Thank you, Kim.
Pretty much similar with Kim and Rashdan. One thing that I could add is this is the best time to try new things, build new verticals, go upstream, go downstream. You gotta try. If you don't try, you don't know. A lot of my team are asking me as well. Even my team members are saying, hey, are we doing too much? I say, if not now, when, right? Because you don't know what the new world will be like, and I'd rather be ready on all fronts rather than just waiting to react.
All right, that's fantastic. Well, I guess I don't see there being any other questions. Are there, organizers? I give a last call to anyone out there who'd like to ask any questions. And while we wait, Renyi will do his recital of New York, New York. I'm kidding. Okay, in that case, if there's no more questions, I'd like to thank our panel of speakers. Let's give them all a virtual round of applause. Guys, you may not be able to hear it, but it's coming. All this energy is coming to you. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us. Oh. Okay, so yes, that's the end of our session right now. Rashdan, Othman, Kim, and Renyi, thank you so much. To end this note, for the next session, you can also shout out. So I'd just like to make a shout out. Up on the next Lab Fam chat session, we'll dive into reimagining the future of the retail angle. So please do join us on the 14th of May 2020, same time, 11 a.m. RSVP your slot via the QR code on the screen, and let's lab chat. I'm Razif Hashim. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience today. Take care. Bye-bye.